I would like to thank you all for uniting here in the beautiful city of Athens. It's a beautiful day to commemorate the death of our beloved Protagoras. I honestly think it's very important that we use the city of Athens, to commemorate his last day here on the earth, because this is the place where he made his legacy. This is the place where he was able to build up his work. Most of all, I would like to thank Euripides, Aspasia, Herodotus, and Socrates for being here today, as we have taken the time, out of our lives to celebrate this last service for Protagoras. We must remember that the legacy and the ideals of Protagoras are something that are going to live on for the rest of time.
Hello, I am Euripides, and both Protagoras and I were a part of the Sophist movement. We were both sophists. So Protagoras was always known for teaching people. He loved to help his pupils out. He loved to help people learn. And that was really, really what he really loved to do. And he started a new movement, kind of a new individualized state of mind. He really liked to go into individualism and a new form of self, and that's what he really liked to teach as well. The cultural artifact I would use to remember Protagoras would be his sayings. He had very, very good quotes. His quotes, sayings such as, "Man is the measure of all things," or "Of all things the measure is man, of the things that they are, and of the things that are not, that they are not." When it comes to his sayings, he was very, very lyrical, and he really loved using his quotes and everything to kind of describe how he feels and kind of describe the movement he was trying to portray.
Thank you, Sophocles, for helping gather us here today. As most of you may or may not know, I am Aspasia. While I did not know Protagoras personally, other than the communication he had with my husband, Pericles, I felt that I knew him based on his ideals that I strongly supported. Protagoras left behind a legacy that focused on how important the truth is, and the idea of individual interpretation, which I strongly admired. He fought for the ideal that no one should ever apologize for their beliefs, and whatever beliefs someone found to be true, they should stay strong in that regard. He also wanted people to be aware of their surroundings and oftentimes question the basis of reality, which I strongly supported due to my passion for psychological debate. While I tend to challenge most people's ideas, the thoughts and legacy that Protagoras left behind allowed me to fully support the open-ended question of what is real. Protagoras once said, "Man is the measure of all things," which is evidence of his legacy and ideals, and that you determine your own truth. It is sad to see such a wonderful intellectual go, but with the legacy he left, I have no choice but to fully respect him and his work.
Protagoras left behind a legacy of questioning one's surroundings and being unapologetic about one's beliefs. Even after he was exiled from Athens, he did not mind that, his ideals were something that were going to get him out of his beloved city. And the fact that he didn't care about the consequences shows the great attachment that he had to his ideals and the idea of his truth, not anyone else's truth. This relates to the overall legacy that is discussed by the people here in this service, because it coincides with his idea of relativism, which is something that he was greatly known for. And also, we must remember that relativism is just that things are relative to each person. What happens to one person, may not be the same for the other person. And that's something that Protagoras really liked to emphasize during his life. To be honest, I think the most important work that helped Protagoras shape his legacy was out of the Truth, Aletheia, because this is a work in which he dissected what he believed to be his perspective. And it was the truth that was always standing for him. It was something that he lived with, and it was something that he believed that was the truth for him, not necessarily for anybody else. And that definitely goes back to the legacy of that of relativism, because it shows that he only believes some things. The work of Truth Aletheia was something that dissected his truth, his own personal truth. Doesn't necessarily have to be the overall truth, but it's something that shows his relativism and how he lived his life, only wanting to share the things that he believes to be true and the things that he believed to be right. It was completely his point of view. It is important to note that even though Protagoras was one that mostly believed in relativism, I'm still able to understand him, even through my work of Antigone, which I just portrayed, absolute truths, created by Creon. I'm able to understand his point of view, and that's something that is very important because we have very different works, but his legacy still lives on through something that I can understand, through my work of Antigone. Even in my work of Antigone, I wanted to portray, absolute truths created by Creon, but Antigone was one that wanted relativism. Antigone was one that wanted to do things her way, even though it was completely rejected by the state. I was able to portray my idea of truth while still showing a form of relativism that wasn't completely part of the theme of the book, but it was her goal, it was her legacy as well, as it was that of Protagoras.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Socrates. As you all know, Protagoras was a philosopher and leading sophist for his time. Although I have some opposing views towards sophists and their teaching methods, I still admire Protagoras' ideas and philosophies. Protagoras and I actually have quite a few things in common. As I have done a lot in my lifetime, Protagoras has also challenged the minds of people and has questioned their virtues. We do have some opposing views on the idea of virtue, whether it is knowledgeable and whether it can be taught. But nonetheless, we have both made people question their surroundings and life as a whole, which is why I respected Protagoras. Now, enough about me. I really want to look into a statement made by Protagoras himself. Not a lot of his works have survived over the years, but one statement did resurface from his lost work titled On the Gods. And On the Gods he states, "Concerning the gods, I have no means of knowing whether they exist or not, nor of what sort they may be, because of the obscurity of the subject and the brevity of human life." Just by this simple quote made by Protagoras, we can see how he believed more in the minds of men than the gods themselves. Protagoras left this legacy of wanting to explore the minds of people. He was more interested in making people question reality and what was the truth. Protagoras just really wanted people to create their own perceptions in their own lives and to the surroundings around them, which is just truly a legacy that will live on for generations. Thank you.
I want to thank everyone that took the time out of their day to make it to this service. Euripides, Herodotus, Sophocles, and Socrates. I leave you with this. There is no right way to live, and in order to honor Protagoras and the legacy of his work, we need to live our truth and not feel that it is wrong. We need to stand strong in our beliefs and focus on our virtues, specifically courage, which is what he would have wanted. It is the purest form of human nature to believe in our truths and question the reality of things, not only to honor Protagoras, but also to honor ourselves. Once again, thank you to each and every one of you that paid your respects to the dearly departed.